Hi and welcome to another video in the RHCE video series. Today's video is on configure storage devices via Ansible. So we're looking to essentially create new partitions on the disk, and I'm also going to go as far as using LVM and creating a new LVM volume. So we're just going to have to create the physical volumes and the logical volumes and whatnot, and the volume groups, of course, as part of this. And we'll just do a very simple 10 gig volume, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've actually on the client itself, I've just deleted the volume we created in the last video, so it's nice and clean. And I think I've allocated 10 gig to the new volume. So we've got dev SDB. Yep, so we've got 10 gig volume there, which we need to allocate. So the current disk label is DOS, so yeah, not usual stuff. So I'll have to go and create a new partition on this and give it a volume label of LVM on there. Okay, so let's get out of this client. We'll go in here and create a new one. So create partition.yaml and 3 dots or 3 dashes, sorry. We'll give it a name, create simple 10 gig partition. Let's do host all, can't really bothered. Tasks, name, create the partition using parted, and we're then going to call parted directly, and we're then going to specify the device. So that's obviously mandatory, and that was SDB. We can specify the number, so which partition we're actually going to manage. So obviously we can have multiple partitions here we can create. I don't really need to specify in my case. We set a flag, so we need to do LVM in brackets with a space between it. We need to say a state of present, as with almost everything in this. And if we specify a part end or part end and part start like this, start, and we can start it from the second gigabyte entry, and then we can say a part end of 3. So okay, a 3 gigabyte directory there. However, we don't want that, so I'm just want to use the entire disk. So I've got that 10 gig specified, so I will just allow it to just do it like this, and I won't specify anything specifically here. So I will do now a write quit, and we will then do a Ansible -playbook -i inventory, and then create -partition, and wait for the magic to happen. Okay, so it looks like so it looks like the number is mandatory, so I'm missing that. So let me go and enter that line, and we'll call it, so it was number. So partition 1 is what we want. It kind of makes sense. We need to know which partition to target, so it's not going to do anything without knowing which partition to target. Okay, so that's looking like it's changed. So let's quickly jump onto the client and do a quick check. So ls be okay, and we see a SDB has got a partition, and the partition is 10 gig, so all hunky-dory there. So that looks pretty happy, and we've got SDB1 as well to note on there, which is great. Okay, so come off the client, clear the screen, The next thing obviously would be to do is to go and create the volume group. So we can set this up. So probably the first thing, if we haven't already, is to probably check if we have the LVM2 package installed on the system. So what we can do is start building up this create partition. Let's copy this, create partition, and we'll create, so we just call it create lvm.yaml. Okay. So we now got a new one called create lvm. We're now gonna just modify these bits and pieces. Or did I do vi? Yeah, I'll rather vim. It's just a bit easier to read on this thing. So okay, so we want to get rid of this text here. So just create a new LVM. So I'll just leave it like that. And we're going to just slowly build this up as we go along. So this will be create a, check the dependent package LVM2 is installed. And we delete this stuff. And change this to package name LVM2 state present. Okay, then we want to do name create the volume group, and that's LVG, logical volume group. VG, so that's the volume group name we're going to set. So let's give it, I'll try and give it a decent name. Let's just VG1. I've always given it VG1, VG2. I don't like capitals either, actually. Let's just call it VG1, as I always seem to do. PVS, so where we're going to target here. So this will be SDB1. That's the physical volume. And we can set the P size, physical extent size. We can set to anything we want. I'll set to 16. That looks pretty good here. Right quit, and then just run this command. So create LVM. It's not going to create an entire LVM, but we'll just create the we do bits and pieces at a time. Okay, so I've got a warning that the value 16 int is in the string field and was converted to string because I didn't put the full value actually. So 16 means 16 meg is how big, so it's the default. Obviously you can put K, G or whatever for different types, so I've just been a bit lazy. I should have put really 16M or something like that to give the megabyte value, but however it's converted it, and we should be okay. So again, we can go in and double check this thing. So it should be created the volume group, and actually the so we've got the volume group, so we've also got to create the physical volume at the same time as well. So it's a double whammy as such. Let's go and have a look. Let me just clear the screen so it goes back to the top. So 10.0, 2.8, and we just do a PVS first. So we have VG1, so we've got the PV set up, we've got the VG here, and we've got a P size, so we can let's do a PV display as well. We can see the P size been set to 16 meg. We can see the total PEs. We've got 600 or so. So obviously the problem is, say, if you set this too small, then it's not such a problem anymore, but it used to be a problem with the maximum value. I think it's like 65k or something. If you had it too small and you had a large enough volume, you can have issues where it just runs out of P's, but I think it's a high number now. I don't know what it is nowadays, But yeah, you've got I've set the PV size to 10 gig. However, you lose 15 meg because of all this overhead, which is normal, to be honest. So we've got 639. So that means every time space is used on the volume, it will use it in 16 meg increments. So we've got 639 splits of the disk, essentially. Okay, you can see the default here is the 4 for the original volume we have out there. So I will do a exit from the disk and we'll do a clear. So we've created the VG and the PV. We just need to create the LV now. So that's one more. So let's go ahead, and I'm not sure actually what will happen if I rerun this command. We will see, I guess. I may just black out this part because it's really annoying. It takes a long time to run. We now know that that's there, so I'll just comment it out for now. It's a bit messy, but it does the job for now. Okay, so I don't have to run that anymore. Okay, cool. So now we're going to do another one, and we do name. Should probably create the volume group. That's good enough. Create the logical volume, and we just got L logical volume, all pretty straightforward. Which volume group? We're going to point it to VG1. We're going to call it LV1. We're going to give it a size of, we can't give it 10 gig because, as we know, the overhead. We could potentially give it the full if we wanted to. However, let's go for 5 gig, and we've got wiggle room in the future. And we'll do a force. Because yes, so you can force it to happen. It could potentially overwrite whatever's there already. Okay, let's now run this through again. Okay, so I've gone, the good thing, so to create the volume group, just said okay, so that means nothing's changed, so we're happy there. It's created the logical volume by looks of it. We've got it changed, and we haven't got an error, so happy days so far. So let's have a look. 2.8, and we just do a LV display. I want the volume group. Okay, so yeah, LV path. So we have an LV of LV1. It is created as a 5 gig. We can see it's using 320. I think it was 600 or so extents total. So it's basically done half of that. So it's automatically done it. Obviously, you can assign the logical extents to it if you wanted to. That's just some additional lines in that there. Allocation inherited. So yeah, all looks pretty happy and good. So again, I'll exit out of this. So the next things to do really are to essentially run the other playbook from this playbook really. So what I'm going to do is do a little bit modification. So what we have right now is we have a lot of playbooks, and we need to create essentially one of these to be a task list so we can call it from another playbook. So if we go into modify this slightly, so we can get rid of all this stuff at the top. We just need it, just the name part onwards. It's a little bit of fun with formatting, which is always all part of the fun, I guess. We do fs type, make that def force. Okay, so that looks good. From there, we now need modify the mount to make that a task list. keep doing VI. I'd much rather do VIM. So now we get rid of this lot again. Okay. And then if we go into create LVM, once we've done all this, we then just want to do another task, and that's just include. I don't remember the name of the task. Include. I think it was create fs.yaml, and then we're going to have like double space here, just makes it easier to read. Include mount fs.yaml, I think it is. Let's just go and check. I'll have to go and double check. Okay, so it was mount fs, yeah, and create fs. Okay, so that should be everything really. So let's give it a whirl. So -I create LVM. In fact, let's just make a couple modifications up here. So we're going to try and run it completely from start to finish. Okay, so let it do the entire thing and we'll see what happens. -I inventory, and finally create LVM. So far so good, nothing's broken yet. Okay, excellent. So it's actually run through without any issues, which is surprising to me, to be honest. A lot of time I always have syntax errors here and there. So Ansible playbook create LVM, so it's gone and created the play. So the play at the start is to create a new LVM. We then have a task to create the dependent package, so it's just checked that's the dependent package is there. Created the volume group, and actually obviously the physical volume as well. Create a logical volume, which is all these things already done in as part of the video. This is the part of the previous video, so it's then calling this task and it's creating the XFS file system, and then it's gone ahead and mounted it as all part of that. And so basically it's linked originally the 3 plays. I've just made them into task lists essentially, these two, and it's run those absolutely fine. So I guess the final proof is in the real pudding here. So let's just go to 02.8. we clear the screen and we just do a PVS first. So we've got the physical volume and we've got the volume group, and we can see a P3 of 4.98, which is again not surprising with the overheads. We do LVS, we see a logical volume of LV1, and that's a L size of 5 gig. We then go to df-h. We should see dev mapper VG1 LV1 is mounted to var www, which was before. It's got available 2 gig. It's used 68 meg or so, and we should finally see in the etc fs tab the line at the very bottom to mount the XFS file system. Awesome. I think that's a success. So yeah, that's all happily mounted, created, all part of the single one command. Yeah, as always, I hope this video has been useful to you. Thanks again for watching. Right now I've just popped up on the screen my tpublic page. That's for any kind of CSG merch if that's anything you're interested in. Got my Ko-fi page for any kind donations if that's something you're interested in. Yep, and also just the details of my Discord server, so that's the best place to ask questions. Also, we've got, obviously, you can ask questions in the comments and I'll try and help out where I can, but Discord place is a great place. We've got a bit of a community going there, and you can reach out to myself and also the community, and someone will try and help you. Yeah, it's a great community we're building there. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you at the next video. Cheers.